At Catel, what sort of things did you learn there that maybe you hadn't done before or didn't know?
Well, I learned at Catel that I'd probably worked on my own for too long and really needed to do it again, ultimately, because the committee decisions were kind of trying. And they never made very good ones either. Which was, in some extent, Frank was too nice of a guy. I think Frank knew what he wanted. He was very smart. Frank was just the most decent, honest, to a fault guy that you could ever work with. But therefore everybody we did it democratically, I guess, and so we had essentially a product council or whatever, and it never. You could never get anywhere. You really couldn't. We did some nice things. We really did. We had some smart people, had some good salespeople. They had some good products. We did develop the fiber capability. It was just beginning to come together with the help of guys like John, and Jerry was there for a short while. Mm-hmm. And Skip Robidart, people like that. Although, I always had issues with Skip because I think he thought I usurped his position or whatever that he deserved. The other reasons that they had got our company was that Don Lawley had left, and that was an old engineer that a guy that Frank had worked with for years, and smart guy, good guy, but he was kind of a maverick, hands-on guy, did a lot of things, knew how to do a lot of things, but he had left, and Frank, needed somebody he thought to make things happen. So I think that's probably one of the reasons they bought Tomco. Yeah,
for the engineering talent. Didn't Don do some consulting work for Tomco too, or not?
We actually started a company with Don to do FM video. But he was around for about 7 or 8 months. But what did we call that company? SS. I don't know, SST? Yeah, something like that. But we were going to do wideband FM over fiber, and Don, he didn't realize how many hours you had to work to make these things happen, and he didn't want to do that. And he was very honest about it. He said, "Tom," he says, I can't live with your schedule." He says, "I just can't do it." He said, so we stayed friends for forever. I think he's passed away. He moved to Montana some years ago. I believe that he passed away probably 10 years ago or more. He was a sharp guy. He had a couple of small cable systems up in the Santa Cruz Mountains that he'd built on his own. But we had guys there that were, that I became lifelong friends, like George Benton. I talked to George Benton almost every other week. He's in his 80s now, but he was after he was let go from Catel, he was never able to get a job in electronics. He ended up selling figurines to people like Walt Disney and things like that, which he was quite successful at, because he was a good salesman. But Gilles, who was a really sharp guy that probably lived in a lot of different countries in this world, and Dick Old, who was this, probably could sell refrigerators to Eskimos. Awfully good salesman. It turned out to be one of our best friends. He was Sue and I's best man at our wedding. And yet the hardest guy I've ever worked with. The most fragile ego in the world, but a marvelous person. And very effective. And a guy that, looked 20 years younger than he really was. Dick was a good guy.